say how pleased I am to welcome those who have just joined us, bringing some pretty spectacular weather with them. Prime Minister Modi, President Ramaphosa, President Moon, in just a minute.
And the President of South Africa.
And the President of South Africa, as I said earlier.
Oh, you did?
I certainly did.
Unfortunately, the Biden bashing will continue because it must continue because he is the president of this country, whether we love it or hate it. Biden's the guy right now. And I can think of few people out there on this planet who I would rather have less to be the guy than Joe Biden. Case in point, the G7 summit, which happened over the weekend. Joe Biden had several gaffes, but one in particular stood out because it was a particularly grandfatherly moment. And I mean that with no disrespect to any of the grandfathers out there, including George Upper, who is a grandfather, and it is his birthday today.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, George. But yeah, let's go ahead and roll that video of Joe Biden.
And just say how pleased I am to welcome those who have just joined us, bringing some pretty spectacular weather with them. Prime Minister Modi, President Ramaphosa, President Moon, in just a minute.
And the President of South Africa.
And the President of South Africa, as I said earlier.
Oh, you did?
I certainly did.
Well, you get to mention twice. So.
I'll go over that again. Let me tell you, we're delighted. I'm glad to say we're joined by Prime Minister Modi of India, who's on the line.
Weirder.
Oh man, that was something else. So yeah, if you could, in case you couldn't make out the exact audio or what happened, Boris Johnson, the UK Prime Minister, was introducing the president, he was introducing leaders from various countries that are not part of the G7, and he had just introduced South African President. I'm going to butcher this name, so I apologize. Cyril Ramaphosa.
Racist.
Couldn't pronounce his name.
Yeah.
That is deeply racist.
So insensitive.
Unbelievable. So, Boris Johnson introduced Ramaphosa, and then Biden jumps in and said, hey, don't forget about South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, which if it weren't so abjectly terrifying that this is the President of the United States, is actually kind of funny.
Don't forget he's the President of the United States.
Yes. And, everyone kind of had a laugh. It was kind of a ha-ha, oh, that's Joe moment, which, I think normalizing this is actually a mistake because we're all having fun. It's so funny watching Joe struggle through these. But at the end of the day, he is the President of the United States. If it is ever determined that he's not fit to be president, then we get President Harris, which, scarily enough, might be worse.
Yeah.
Okay, so given that we see these gaffes, these mistakes from Biden that are becoming more and more frequent, what? Okay, so first question, it's a little facetious, but genuinely curious. Like, if you guys were betting men, do you guys think Joe Biden makes it through his full term? Mike, I'll kick it over to you.
I would say definitely, yeah, because I don't know how much work he's actually doing because he never shows up for appearances. Obviously, he's got a big team around him that seems to be doing a lot of the work for him. So even if by the end of his term they're just puppeting him with a bunch of strings and getting him to flop up on stage, they're gonna get him to the end of his term.
Weekend at Biden.
I don't. Yeah, that's been overplayed a bit, but yeah, it's so true. But he'll make it through this first one. I have serious doubts that he'll be able to do a second term, but yeah, I think he'll make it through the first one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we've seen this before in American politics where, there's a lot of conversation that's been had about Ronald Reagan and his second term with Alzheimer's and dementia, the idea that maybe he was not actually fit to kind of preside over the nation at that time. I think that they find a way, especially at that point, you're talking about actually the safety of the free world. You're talking about the moment that the rest of the world knows full well that this person is not capable of standing up for their country, is not capable of properly representing their country. That's a threat. So at that point, you're going to keep propping this man up, or if it gets so bad that you have to, you're going to replace the person. Those in between states are a huge problem. I kind of do wonder if it's going to get that bad. You know, I disagree with the folks who want to nitpick over certain little things that have gone on with regard to kind of these gaffes. However, there's no question that it poorly reflects. I mean, you look at this guy and we're talking about, you know, you watch back on world history and you think about, could this man have sat beside Winston Churchill and Stalin? Could this man have faced down Mikhail Gorbachev? Like, no, there's no plausible scenario where he stood up with those giants of history. And it's a kind of a good thing that we have other goofs like Boris Johnson on the world stage right now who are just kind of also just jovial kind of weirdos that are getting along with the guy, because he could not stand up against the real powerhouses of previous generations.